Very good.
Yeah, for the importance of that topic, it's rarely talked about in any way. We don't even have a model for it, really.
Hmm. There was a rabbi that I stumbled across on Instagram or YouTube or one of the social media who was talking about um, uh, when spiritual leaders fail us, and he said that the problem is that we focus on the spiritual leader instead of focusing on ourselves. In other words, focusing on, in his case, he said, focusing on our lack of discernment,
Yeah.
focusing on the fact that we have decided to put this person on a pedestal. And it made me think of what I see as one of the big problems with when a spiritual leader fails us is that, and I mentioned this in a previous episode, but I think it's worth saying if we happen to put this out to our Patreon supporters, I think it's about identity. We don't realize that what we do is we identify with our leaders. We take them in, and it is a part of our identity. I am a follower of this particular guru, spiritual teacher, or politician, and that becomes our identity. And then they act in a human way and do things that disappoint us, that we see as wrong, and we're hurt.
Or we
And
make excuses for them.
or we make excuses for them, right? That's even worse. And but but what we haven't done is we haven't looked at how we have created a false identity.
Yeah. I used to do this thing. It was pretty funny. Um, if you ever you want to watch our video of a play I did, I could send it to you. I think it's in three parts. Um, if I did a play in front of the group many years ago called Not As It Seems. It was a mostly a two-person play. It was really interesting. I think you'd like it. But during one scene, uh, uh, this guy, it's kind of a teacher-student situation, and the guy holds a styrofoam cup, and he says, "Well, here's an interesting experience. Connect with the styrofoam cup, and notice the details, and notice, the sides, and how pure and innocent it is, and how open it is to receiving, and how quiet it is." And then he goes like that and smashes the cup. And the other guy in the play, which is me, I say, "Hey, why'd you do that?" And he said, to show you that you get identified with everything. I mean, you're hurt that I hurt this styrofoam cup.
Yes, identification is so easy to do. I think about that in movies. I'll watch a movie and realize that I am having emotions that the leading character may be having as a result of the situation that this
Yeah.
character is in, which isn't really happening, which has nothing to do with reality. And I have taken on a temporary identity. And I think that happens in the world, in life,
That
not in
all
movies.
all of sports too.
All of sports too, exactly. We identify like I have nothing to do with the team that happens to be housed in New York City. I mean, there's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing that they have
The
achieved
players aren't
or
from New
failed
York.
that has
Yeah.
anything to do with me whatsoever. But I am a Yankees fan or a Mets fan or whatever.
Jerry
Or
Seinfeld has a thing. He says basically we're rooting for. We get very attached to which type of laundry people are wearing.
Yes, right. Right. And we and this happens in with nationalism as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there are many countries that have no natural borders that aren't a real thing. They're not, they don't even exist. They're just someone drew a bunch of lines, like in states in the US that are just square
Yeah.
lines, and they're not real things. They're all stories that we make up about it, and we identify ourselves as a German or a New Mexican or whatever, or as a particular sports fan or a Democrat or Republican, et cetera. And the real trick is to look and see how all identification is simply thought.
Well, it might be interesting to do a episode called "The Problem of Identification,"
Sure.
or and go into all these aspects of it. I think that would be a really interesting episode.
Yeah, it might be a good idea because we also identify with all the characteristics of the individual body as well.
Yeah.
Man, older man, whatever, or smart or intelligent or talented or untalented or whatever, or rich or poor, and all of that stuff is in the mind, and it is thoughts, and thoughts are not real, and thoughts appear in a field that is much, much larger, that is infinite and spacious and choiceless.
Yep.
So sure, let's talk about that.
Okay.